In the name of Allah, rules of therapy from prophetic repetition. Zaytuna Cupping Center, Medina, Saudi Arabia. This meeting with the channel of rules of therapy from prophetic repetitions aims to review an interesting hot topic. The world misconception and misbehavior towards Helicobacter pylori is leading to major spread of illness. Misconception about Helicobacter pylori. Helicobacter pylori, the commonest cause of fire inside the stomach. Helicobacter pylori constitutes a confusing world medical challenge due to an extreme widespread prevalence and a claim of having close relation to acid peptic disease, gastric carcinoma, and lymphoma. These reasons made the medical world believe that H. pylori eradication should be a necessary attempt. So, is H. pylori really guilty or not guilty? Or, on the contrary, it is innocent? H. pylori colonized the stomach since an immemorial time, as if both the stomach and the bug used to live together in peace, harmless to each other. What could this mean? Existence of H. pylori starts transfamilial during early childhood, and the H. pylori strain is often identical with that of parents. Interestingly, children maintain the same strain genotype even after moving to a different environment. The unbeatable challenge is a highly talented natural ability of the organism to survive inside the stomach. What could this also mean? After more than 30 years of extensive research, unfair medical battle, and a blind Nobel justice, the harm is worse, and the matter is still dilemma. A scientific stop is becoming mandatory to achieve an evaluation of some misconceptions about H. pylori itself. H. pylori, is it biologic or pathologic, protective or destructive, defensive or offensive, useful or harmful? H. pylori, is it infection, infestation, or existence? H. pylori existence, is it natural existence or abnormal existence? H. pylori eradication, is it necessary and possible or unnecessary because impossible? H. pylori antibiotic eradication, is it efficient or inefficient? The resistant H. pylori strains, are they resistant because drastic or immigrant, therefore resistant? Are they really aggressive or just panic? H. pylori, is it guilty, not guilty, or innocent? The answers of these questionnaires are scattered here and there and far over there. H. pylori colonized the stomach since an immemorial time. H. pylori in human population is common and persistent. H. pylori prevalence is high, while complications in the stomach were minor. Recurrence of H. pylori is unavoidable. H. pylori is not just a bad bug in all instances. Should we fight and kill or save H. pylori? If the knowledge of these answers are coalesced together, the picture is then clear. H. pylori was rediscovered nearly before 3 decades. The fight against H. pylori by antibiotics has been over the past 3 decades. The flare-up of medical dilemmas related to H. pylori has been during the last 3 decades. Any medical strategy which does not correlate between these 3 facts is definitely not following a clinical sense, as complications related to H. pylori before being attacked by antibiotics were limited to the stomach and in minor incidents, while complications related to H. pylori before and after antibiotics flared up and exceeded limits of the stomach. The presence of ammonium in gastric contents was described in 1852. That's more than 160 years before. Urease activity in the stomach was identified as early as 1930s. That's rather 89 years ago. In 1960s, it was strongly evidenced that gastric urease was not a property of the stomach but of a microbial origin. It was reported in 1980s, it was reported that the products of urease activity in the stomach are not toxic. It's even beneficial. Biological structures develop their biological talents due to a critical need or upon a real obligation. H. pylori is not obliged to survive in the stomach. And it did not create inside itself the urease activity for its survival in the stomach. Logically, what forces this very weak, very acid-sensitive bacterium to choose by its own a shelter inside the aggressive gastric acid? If it seeks a shelter, it would stay in the mouth and enjoy fun and company with millions of bacteria there. So long it can exist in the mouth, what could oblige this weak bacterium for that sort of mass suicide inside the hellfire of the stomach, unless it's obliged for that? Apparently, H. pylori is a natural bacterium and is obliged for a natural function in the stomach. H. pylori is a natural bacterium as proved by existence since an immemorial time, highly protective biological functions to the human body, huge natural defense talents, recurrence is unavoidable. H. pylori is not pathologic by its own. It has been forced to its pathologic attitude due to misbehavior in food habits and antibiotic abuse, as proved by a major harmless lung history inside the stomach. Existence of H. pylori is measured while gastric complications before antibiotics were minor. H. pylori is not eradicated but forced to migrate, as proved by unusual existence in dental plaques, rectum, tonsils, and adenoids, and unusual symptoms and sequels caused by this unusual existence. Eradication therapies are not effective, as proved by the common recurrence, emergence of resistant H. pylori strains, flare-up of a lot of H. pylori related medical challenges. So long H. pylori colonized the stomach since an immemorial time. What's the purpose of that Australian drama in 1985? I got it, a bacterium surviving in the stomach. As long as H. pylori could be a natural bacterium, what's the reason of fighting it? The natural bacteria of vitamin synthesis in the colon are not far from the memory. Therefore, the antibiotic aggression against H. pylori, whatever aggressive, can never defeat it, except forcing it to migrate in panic to an abnormal shelter with loss of its biological functions to the human body and development of complications in turn. In the same way, nobody by any means can render any person absolutely H. pylori negative for more than 1 day or so unless his mouth is sealed. Medicine should have realized that H. pylori is a natural bacterium and no human power can overcome it. Could it be true? The world war against the stomach bacterium by antibiotic weapons was a world mistake. The link of the published related research article, The World Misconception and Misbehavior towards Helicobacter pylori is leading to major spread of illness, is attached to the video. So for the next meeting with the channel of Rules of Therapy from Prophetic Repetition, for further review about the serious topic misbehavior towards Helicobacter pylori. Zaytuna Cupping Therapeutic Center, Medina, Saudi Arabia.